Lesson 11. Pinocchio. Long ago, an old woodcarver named Geppetto carved a beautiful boy puppet. He named it Pinocchio. He looked at the night sky and made a wish on a falling star.
I wish Pinocchio was a real boy.
The falling star was a fairy. She heard Geppetto's wish. She tapped the puppet Pinocchio with her wand. The puppet became a live puppet. She said to Pinocchio, "You must promise to be a good and honest boy." Then a cricket appeared. Fairy told that Mr. Cricket will help you make wise choices. Geppetto sold his coat and bought school books for Pinocchio. Pinocchio left the school the next morning. Soon they met a fox and a cat. "Come with us to the puppet show," they said. Mr. Cricket tried to stop him from going with them, but he did not listen to him. Pinocchio sold his books to buy a ticket. He went for the puppet show. He was thrilled to see puppets dancing on the stage. "I can dance like that too. I am a dancer," he said and jumped onto the stage to dance. Mangia Fuoco, the master, caught Pinocchio. He locked him in a bird cage. Pinocchio started to cry, regretting his mistakes. The fairy appeared. "How did you get inside that cage?" she asked. "I was robbed," Pinocchio lied. His nose began to grow because of the lie. Pinocchio was scared and told the truth. Then his nose was normal again. "Remember, don't lie again." The fairy waved her wand and Pinocchio was out of the cage. "Here are your books," she said. "Now, go to school." Pinocchio was back on the road to school. On the way, a coachman drove up to him and said,
"I'll take you to Pleasure Island."
Again, Mr. Cricket warned him to not go with the coachman, but he ignored him. Pinocchio happily went there. Few days went by. Pinocchio turned into a donkey. "I hope," cried Pinocchio. He could not speak properly. "All the boys get turned into donkeys here." Pinocchio somehow escaped Pleasure Island. He returned to reach Geppetto's cottage. Alas, it was empty. Pinocchio looked for Geppetto everywhere, but could not find him. At last, he reached a dog. "Sir, honk," he said to a man. "I am looking for Geppetto, the old woodcarver."
"I know Geppetto," said the man. "I saw him going out on a boat to look for his son."
Pinocchio was helpless. He jumped into the water, and Mr. Cricket followed. He began to float as most of Pinocchio was still made of wood. "Father! Father!" he called out. A giant whale swallowed Pinocchio. He met Geppetto inside the whale's belly. Suddenly, the whale sneezed. Geppetto and Pinocchio flew out of the whale's mouth into the water. They started swimming towards the shore. Soon, they were at the shore. Pinocchio took his father to the cottage. For several days, he took good care of him. He began weaving baskets to sell to earn money.
"But yourself a coat,"
said Geppetto when Pinocchio gave him the money. Pinocchio left for the market to buy a coat. "Pinocchio! Pinocchio!" cried Mr. Cricket on the way. "The nice fairy is in the hospital. The doctors need money to treat her." Pinocchio gave his money to Mr. Cricket and went back home. That night, the fairy appeared before him again. "You gave the money to Mr. Cricket for me? You deserve to be a real boy." She tapped on his head with her wand. The next morning, when Pinocchio woke up, he was a real boy.